Your enemies, they know you have outsmarted them. Let me tell you that it takes an outsmarting of the enemy. They know you have outsmarted them now. Let me give you something biblically, because if you don't take it like this, you will never get it. That is why at the end of the day, the aim, it is not to see you suffer and then you complain, but the reality is they need you to tap out. They need you to what? To give up. Hello everyone, it's Ishmael and your priest. I welcome you to today's video. If you could see and think about the reality of what I'm saying to you, let me assure you, you would never drop your guard. In fact, you are gonna stay strong. Yes, I know that how it's like at times to feel like, why can't I just give up? I know how it is like to sometimes feel like, why am I bothering? Will it ever change? Won't it stay like this? But realistically, if you can check how they are laughing at you, if you can check how they are rejoicing over your downfall, let me assure you, none of us would bear to see it. You know, sometimes I look at it, I'm like, for example, those people who delete their own life, and when I say delete, I mean like when they take their own life, the bottom line is this. I sometimes be like, what if when they get there in the spirit, they meet God, and then the Lord be like, tomorrow your solution was coming. Why did you kill yourself? Tomorrow I was about to bless you with this thing. Had you hanged in there a little longer, you were gonna see in fact, that was a guarantee, because this person was gonna give you a call. After that call, you were gonna get employed. After the employment, it was gonna give you one of the highest pays. Let me assure you, there are people today whom their case is as I'm saying. It is no lie. The following day, you find that even people that were like, we're about to call this person, or the moment we called them, they just killed themselves an hour earlier. And now, imagine that person who just took their life thinking that they are cursed, their life can never change. When they learn such, what do they wish about? Oh, okay, only if I can go back. No more going back. And the reason they are saying only if I can go back is because you realize you were deceived. The enemy Satan lied. We have people today. Let me ask you a question. If it's not you per se, you have friends, you have classmates from the past. Even my own brother, he would tell me that when he was still young in school, he was never taking it serious until he failed once. And as the people, the fellow students, they laughed at him. That made him to work harder. And the following year, he began to pass. And from there, he went on to pass. Not because he was dumb, but because he was not serious. Let me tell you that the only thing that made him to work harder, it was because the enemies laughed at him. Let me tell you that it is true. That is why as I was growing up, I would see elderly people. They wouldn't like it when we begin to fight as a family. They'd be like, hey, because you are making noise, you are making the enemies to rejoice. As they hear in that family that there is so much noise, people just, they want to hear, they are laughing, listening to the curseful words you are saying against each other. And let me assure you, sometimes what motivated you is what? When you saw that your enemies are laughing. And the moment you saw that they are laughing, what do? Now you want to prove them wrong. Now you want to work harder. Now you want to show them. This reminds me of my story. One time, there were friends who were against me. It's like they just turned against me, according to as far as I understand. And to the point where I felt like, you know what? Let me change a school. In fact, this is the first time I even shared this story now. So listen, I decided to change a school. I told my dad, and he took me to another school. But about 2 to 3 days later, in that new school, I felt the anger. That, you know what? I will not give them the satisfaction. Let me go back there and now let me be strong. That's what nobody told me this. I decided it upon myself. And as I went back, I remember one friend of mine was like, yo, some of these people, they were like, yo, he's back. They were angry. Whereas they were mad, they were happy that I left. And I did not know how happy they were. But then I got to know and realize that I was stronger. I had to make myself stronger. And indeed, they had to now make peace about it, and they ended up being cool, and we ended up being cool. So you see, when you give up, your enemy will never know. It is time that you stand up. Let your enemies know. They will begin to know you are not to be messed with. If you do go down, if you do give up, if you do let yourself, you cry, they're gonna rejoice. And let me assure you, the reason sometimes we feel like giving up is not because there is something to give up about. It's because we have not seen how much they are laughing. Whereas if we were to stand up and you be strong and you fight, you were gonna conquer. And then in turn, you were gonna rejoice. Don't you remember my story when I like to share about how at school they were laughing at me? They said that I can't present. And that pushed me to work harder. And in the presentation, the academic presentation, even though I still have the photos, maybe one day I will show you, where I won a prize because I decided that, you know what, I'm going to take this next presentation serious. There I was playing, and indeed, I was not taking it serious. There were no even prizes being won in that other one where they laughed. But then, at the end, when I went to the next presentation and I won and I showed it off to them, you see, I am the best, better than you all. They could no longer even, fight against it. They could no longer deny it. They could no longer, because most, if not all of them, in fact, all of them, they had never even won once in a presentation. So you see, that made me a legitimate best presenter. But what did it take for me to be motivated by them scoffing me, laughing at me? That is why at times, in fact, all the time, do not give your enemies satisfaction. In fact, let it motivate you. And as a result, I knew, and I still know, they began to know, and they know that this guy, he's actually good. Look, in front of hundreds and hundreds of students from different institutions, I won to show that I am the best in the world. That's what I said. I am the best because I competed not only with my university or my faculty, but the entire different student. It is not different from saying you are the champion of the world, because you are fighting fighters from different parts of the world, right? So that's what I said. And that was not to be argued. I had something, a price to show for it. Let me tell you that your enemies will begin to know. Your enemies will learn. They will learn, okay? And in Jesus' mighty name I pray, whatever situation that is trying to drag you down, may the Lord strengthen you. May your enemies begin to know. In Jesus' mighty name, I pray for the angel of the Lord to come and strengthen you to stand up and fight through until you conquer each and everything in your life. In Jesus' mighty name I pray for you right now. Amen. And remember, you can book an appointment with me. My details are in the comment section below. See you next time.